Testing. Okay. Now, I apologize. My voice was not working there. I'm like talking to myself. I think I got Condor sounds working now too. All right. Very good. Well, let's go on course here. Um, Not many. Well, I guess there's a couple clouds where we're going. Are you, whoever's watching, are you a glider pilot? Or aspiring pilot? Of any type? To get another thermal here, yep. This one may be a little better than the last even. Shall see. One thing I find while thermaling, and potentially a common mistake of instructing thermaling, is we say, do a 45-degree bank while you're in the thermal. The real truth is you need to adjust little adjustments every time around, either shallowing or tightening the circle. Generally, when the lift is increasing, like it is about now, shallow a little bit, and when it starts decreasing, we will turn back in. One thing I had kind of problems with in teaching, still have problems with teaching it sometimes, is the student says, "Hey, but we're still getting good lift. Why would you turn tighter? And my general answer is, well, wait 1 second. Or wait 2 seconds. And you'll see why. We have the ability to feel the lift a little bit quicker than our variometer reacts. There's another way to kind of figure out when it's about to die. I guess I'll have to think about how I want to say that and say it at another time, but let's say the variometer goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, and it stays 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, you kind of take the time that it took to get from 1 to 4. Does it still feel like it's increasing, or did like it stay at 4 for a while? Even though it's at 4, and that's pretty good, if it didn't get any stronger, there's probably not going to be more lift. It's not going to get any stronger ahead of you. So, basic rule is tighten up the circle as it weakens, and shallow out the circle as it strengthens. And try to do as tight of a turn as you can do most times. It's about 45 degrees. This thermal is not quite as strong as the last, but it's giving us a little bit more of an allowance, allowing us to go to other thermals. Just going to take it a little while longer. I think we're not quite to cloud base, and it's still pretty strong. It's going to be kind of a boring night if I talk to myself the whole night. A question or two would be fun. Hopefully we get a couple of viewers in. Maybe we can do after the fact questions. These will be recorded and uploaded on YouTube. My idea and plan is to do a lot more instructional type glider videos, both Condor, which is easily accessible to most people, and continue giving real-life glider training. Seems to be a fairly wide thermal. A little fast there. Let's go on course. A little too fast. have a choice now. My course, what I'm supposed to be doing is 15 degrees or so off to the right. But that would lead me between two different clouds. I don't really need the cloud, but if I go between them, maybe some sinking air. This cloud kind of looks like it's dying. It's getting a little bit like transparent. The edges aren't very well defined, so even if I get lift here, I'm not going to stay. I'm just going to do what I'd call bump. Slow down just a little bit, and then speed back up. So here's a little bit of lift. Not that strong, pretty soft. That's all I'm going to slow down, and then back to about the speed I was going. And I'm going to turn back to my direct heading. T15 is 30 miles ahead here. Now it looks like we'll encounter another really nice thermal. It looks nice now. Maybe by the time we get there it won't be. We have Anthony Peak just slightly off our right. Not the one that is focusing on, I think it's just beyond. Covelo, Round Valley, down there in the valley. I think that place caught fire pretty good last year. anybody's curious to learn how to use Seesaw Condor, I'd be happy to teach them how to do that too. I'm not using it right now. It'd be a fun thing to add to my stream though. Maybe bottom right corner. A little Seesaw. This Condor soaring simulator is much better when you're flying with other people. Flying it alone is a little bit slightly boring, I suppose. It's still good though. You can gain a lot of different skills, especially the thermaling technique. I think Condor's very good for that. The problem that I find both teaching in Condor and teaching in reality is that as you approach a cloud, you look at it out in the distance. Okay, there's the cloud. You kind of look down and start looking around. Next thing you know it, you're facing just away from the cloud a little bit. And so my suggestion, both in reality and in the sim, is to, as you approach it, continue looking up at it. Now also, here's a good decision right here that I'm trying to teach is this cloud ahead of me is dying. You can see that because it's, again, starting to be slightly transparent, slightly stringy on the outside, maybe. Wispy, maybe another word. The cloud just to our left is looking very good. Sharp, contrasting edges. You can see the one ahead of us is really getting stringy now. So I'm gonna turn. You don't want to turn so far off of your course. Maybe 30 degrees off my course, but in the direction of my course, there's nothing else. I can't make it to the next cloud. So I will have to take a little turn away. And that's how gliders work. Can't just go straight to the destination most days. Slightly before we get to this cloud, my variometer, bottom right corner, says negative almost 4 right now, is going to drop even further. I see close to -6 before it starts kicking up. We're getting a little bit of turbulence. There it goes. It's dropping a little bit. There's -5, -6. Next thing you know it, here comes the lift. Starting to rise, the barrier needle's rising. I'm going to start slowing down. Flaps coming more into a climb setting as opposed to cruise setting. Trim's changing, trimming back. I'll switch on to my thermal helper screen. Not to be confused with the in-game thermal helpers. I'm not cheating. Real life gliders have a similar screen that we're looking at in the center of the cockpit here. One of my future videos, I want to talk about how a little bit more on how I do thermal centering, pauses, etc. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, it'd be nice if there were people here to ask questions, but that's not the case. So I'll be able to pause. So at this point in time, I want to shift the glider kind of northwest a little bit. So right about here, I'm going to start shallowing. So that, not quite. And right about here, I'm going to shallow. Shift the glider northwest a little bit. You can hear the variometer pitch getting a little higher. And it's about to max out. Tighten that turn back up. This turn here, this circle here, sorry, thermal here, has, it's only, six knots average, so it's not quite as strong as the previous two. But hey, 6 is still, we'll take that any day. I guess I would prefer more, but we're taking 6. You get 6 in real life, you're super happy. With a little bit better centering, we might have 6.5 coming up here. I think I'm going to take only a couple more turns, and each time I start facing north again, I'm going to be looking for any clouds that are along my course line. See if I can leave this one and take potentially a better, but there's 0 at the moment. So we're just going to stay circling. Thermal hasn't died. I haven't lost it. A lot of times in real life, when people say the thermal died, they simply moved away from it. Be looking for new clouds to spawn. Form every time I turn north. Could probably make it to that. Go just a little bit higher here and then try to get to our next turn point. seems like at our next turn point, which is 8 miles away. Takes a little bit of a turn slightly northeast, maybe a 20-degree heading change. So about this heading. Yeah, there's a nice beautiful cloud there, but it's just a little too far. Let me go up a little bit more. Oh, this one's dying. Maybe not dying, but it's... Maybe I'm not centered. Yeah, it's time to move on, I think. Yeah, maybe try one more turn, getting slightly more north. That sounds pretty good. Feel free to criticize my funky awe-string as much as you feel like. You can do it a lot better in real life. That twist rudder. Yeah, that's no excuse. Twist rudder's good. Ooh, cloud ahead is disappeared, so we're gonna fly. We gotta stretch our glide just a little bit here, and so what that means, we're gonna fly a little slower than we are now. Maybe about, say, about 100, less than 120, maybe a little more than 100. We have a T-15 coming up about 4 miles ahead. A familiar turn point for the Williams local guys. Here comes our, oh, yeah, here it is. I'll zoom in so you can see the waypoint gate. You can go anywhere within the red zone, but the closest to the point on the east side, the better, shorter distance you actually travel. I like to get really zoomed in so I can just not really waste distance. 58. Continue on. Looking into the distance, I think I've got a cloud kind of picked out. It's not really. Not really good options ahead just right now. Now, I could, like previous, I could go over to that cloud. I could go maybe chase one of those, sure. I'd rather go to that one first, but I'm not going to. What I'm going to do is just fly a little slower. One of my theories that I use in Condor is I hope that the cloud's going to spawn in front of me along the course line. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you end up on the ground. But if you want to race in Condor and potentially podium, you need to make some gambles like this. Need another almost 8,000 foot of climb to finish the task. Just about 4 more thermals, I suppose. Hopefully we can get some more that are more than 6 knots. Got 9 miles to the next turn point, Hayfork Peak. This is my personal furthest distance away from any airport that I've been, from my home airport of Williams. Been a little further, but not as PIC. A little bit more of a guest. Fairly decent gap here in the clouds. I need to slow down just a little more. We go after Hayfork, a little bit of a right-hand turn. Next stop being Shasta. Just the edge of Shasta. I'm not exactly following my McCready value that I've set in. You can see the electronic vario, which is next to the compass, in between the compass and the display. It has a bunch of down chevrons, down diamonds, essentially saying lower than nose. It's because I have a McCready setting set a little higher than I should be flying. If I lower the McCready setting, then I've got, well, now with the single diamond there, I'm actually flying the right speed. Or this 110 knots that I'm flying, this is the right speed for the air mass. Okay, so if you have air mass sinking, if you have the air mass outside of the glider already going down, the general rule is that you speed the glider up. And these chevrons, or the diamond that you see, give you a speed to fly. They tell you whether you should be slowing down or speeding up. But that's all commanded by the McCready value that you have put in. If you look back at the very beginning of the video, I kind of talk about how I came to the McCready value that I did. But then again, I'm not exactly flying it. So I kind of like feel, I kind of like look at as the world passes and see how the glide slope passes. I feel like I'm going to have to slow down again here, because our next clouds are another good 5 miles away. Should be another, maybe they're 10 miles away, about to lose another 1,500 feet. So we're about to cross the turn point on the inside edge there. Good. Little turn. Next stop, Shasta. 63 miles from Hayfork Peak. Not the turn point, it's just the edge of Shasta. As I created the task, shortened it a little bit. I was going to end up going to Montague. But like I said, I already did like 5 hours, almost 5 hours of real life flying in the wave today. And honestly, just exhausted. Trying to build my my channel here, trying to build my followers, and so you can't tell someone you're going to be there to do something and not do it. So here I am, maybe slightly modified from what I mentioned on Reddit. If you haven't seen my posts on Reddit, go check Reddit. I think it's r/gliding, or just search up Reddit gliding and look for Not Leap by Far. It's kind of how I'm trying to get some viewers to watch me on Twitch and ask me questions. Just trying to figure out how to make the rest of my future work with gliding and flying in general. Alright, I think I got a few cloud options that were within range now. It would be mega cool if the one person in here wants to ask a question, or invite your friend to watch the stream. So far we've done almost 70 nautical miles in 50 minutes. It's 82 knots average speed. We do about 130 or so. Let's see what we got left. 67 left. Oh, we're halfway there. The other cool thing about what I'm doing in this video is that if you like what you're seeing, I can totally show you how to do it in reality. And people come all across the country to visit these glider ports and to learn. Williams would be a great place to go. Come see me, see a couple other instructors. We teach in Schleicher ASK21s, and then when you first solo, it's an ASK23. After license, we move up, fly ASK24. I was mentioning Hayfork Peak. I flew to there in the 24. That glider means a bit to me. Looks like I'm gonna have to kind of divert a little bit off the course line to this cloud here. We're starting to get a little bit low, 8,000 feet. Cloud's close enough by. After, well, probably before you come to Williams and fly the 24, you can take a couple lessons in our ASG32 MI. It's a motor glider, has self-launch capability. There are 3 different types of motor gliders. Self-launch, the motor powerful enough to tow it off the ground. There is sustainer, which doesn't quite have the power, but once in the air, you can continue on the sustainer for maybe 70 miles, just an estimate. Never flown a sustainer glider. And the last form of motor glider, maybe there's another, but would be the touring motor glider. And touring motor gliders typically have larger fuel tanks, where you can go to one airport to the next. You go to the diner, your favorite diner at an airport, and potentially even taxi from the landing place to food. A popular touring motor glider is the STEMI S10. The STEMI models. Now they have the STEMI S12 Twin Voyager, they call it. Don't mark my words exactly, but these gliders can probably do about 1,000 miles of fuel. That's their fuel capacity, 1,000 miles. And that is not soaring. So if you do what I'm doing here, which is soaring, just pure, no motor, you can extend that 1,000 miles probably times 2 or potentially more. I flew a STEMI once, and it was sort of a very odd sensation, odd feeling, because it was side by side, and I had never flown a side-by-side glider. This cloud didn't work. There was lift there, but you don't want to turn in that. It didn't kick in very strong, so we're gonna kind of just remain slightly slower again and stretch our glide to one of these next clouds here that we see. A bunch of options here, but the next time I stop and thermal up, it's going to be thermaling for a good 5 minutes, maybe more. Maybe a thermal will spawn in front of me before we get there. I suppose since I'm not answering questions, I can talk a little bit about how I got into this hobby. I mentioned on my Twitch that I've been flying flight simulators for 27 plus years, as long as I can really remember. And I, about the age of 10, went on my first glider ride. It was pretty cool. It actually let me fly the glider a little bit. I just wanted to push the nose down and go fast. I didn't realize that would cut my time short, but it was still a very great time. So that was many years ago now. That was my first experience in a glider. Now I actually fly the same glider for my job when we give two-person rides. So we fast forward almost 20 years, 15 years, and I'm working out in Tahoe, working in the ski resorts, and you can imagine that that is a seasonal job. And in the summers I did various things, but one summer I discovered, actually I'm jumping ahead of the story here, I went on a glider ride out in Minden, and I took an acrobatic ride, and we did some loops and some wing-overs, and I thought it was just the best. But before we even got in the air, I asked this guy who was driving the golf cart, I said, well, what is your role? What is it that you do here at the glider port? And he said that he was the lineman, and basically he helped keep ropes in order and moving gliders from place to place, hooking them up to the tow plane. And he had mentioned that doing that job got him lessons. And I was thrilled to hear that. That was the day the light bulb went off. And I said, I want to work as a lineman to get my lessons. And fast forward another about 3 years, I was 28, I saw the gliders in Truckee where I lived, and I went to the glider port and I asked them if they had any openings for any kind of help around the airport. And I literally got a call back. It was either that afternoon or the next afternoon, saying, hey, why don't you come on in? And I was thrilled. So I went to the airport, to the glider port, and my boss / instructor said, hey, we start at 8, not at 9. I don't remember that he told me that the night before or not. So started working at the glider port, and with my passion that I already had for aviation, I said, this is the way, and I'm going to show these people that I'm a hard worker. And I mean, they gambled on me, right? And so I started working every 2 days. Every 2 days I'd work at the glider port. I would get a lesson in trade. And so during my first summer, I got enough lessons going that I was able to solo. I soloed on my 26th flight and flew another close to 20 times. I think I had about 45 flights my first summer in 4 months. And so of course the next summer we get in contact and I say, yes, of course I'm working for you again. And the second summer I was able to get my private license, and then I was able to take friends, which I tried to. And I guess we got to fast forward another summer. My instructor kind of mentioned getting my commercial. Now, if I had a choice, I would take that cloud off to the right. This one's, I'm going. We're already a little low, but that one looks better, and hopefully I make it. So my instructor said, you know, if you continue on and get your commercial license, then you can basically be paid to fly gliders. I said, oh my God, okay. I had no clue that that was in my cards. And so I did a lot of studying. A lot of studying, and so I was given rides on my third summer. I also, because we were seasonal, applied for another business during the winter, and I went and worked for Warner Springs in Southern California for a couple months, sort of as a trial experience, and got another good story about that. I'll talk about that another time. And it worked out. It was very great. All of a sudden now I'm flying in the back seat of this plane, and they're actually paying me for it. It was such a kind of a mind-blowing thing that was happening. Occasionally I still get that feeling. So I worked for Warner Springs a little bit in the winter, and as a commercial pilot. I wasn't an instructor then. And then I came back up to Tahoe Truckee, and I had a job flying for them for the summer for 4 months. I think I put in about 400 flights in that 4 months. It was really awesome. Now, I need to figure out, okay, wind is from right here. We go. Here's thermal. I don't like right hand with the joystick, but I'll do it anyway. It was just in time. We needed it. So I came back. I did 400 flights for Truckee, and by the end of that summer, I had gotten my instructor rating. And it's always fun to make jokes about, this is my first lesson. The student, they don't know that. But, so I went back to Warner Springs. I may have taken a winter off. I can't remember exactly. I went back to Warner Springs as a teacher. Started teaching in Schweitzer 233s. And given rides in the Grove 103 and the Schweitzer 232. And returned back to Truckee for a summer. Given a bunch of instruction and rides. And at the end of that, a new company reached out to me, Williams Soaring Center. I'm going to pause and link that in the video here. So, Williams Soaring Center in Williams, north of Sacramento. And this is where I'm flying from today and tonight. I should mention that I also ended up buying a trailer so that I could live at these places. I lived at the glider port in Warner Springs. I lived at the glider port in Truckee. And now I live at the glider port in Williams. Essentially just quote unquote living my dream, which I feel like when I say that, it's true. A lot of people say living the dream when they're just teasing and joking. And maybe they really are living the dream. But so that has me here at Williams, and they were sure enablers. Essentially, they let me get to my next stages in my personal progression. They said, look, you can take this ASW-24 and you can go fly it cross country. They said, if you land out, preferably at another airport, they would come get me. So I didn't land out. I took the glider. I showed you guys Hayfork Peak just a little bit ago in this video. And so I've been at Williams now for a couple years. Able to do some aerobatics and some longer distance flying. Today I flew an ASG 32 MI. It's about a 52-to-1 glider ratio glider. Very, very modern, very nice. And after the fact, I had 2 more lessons in the 21s. And it was a wave day, and so I was cold most of the day. Finally, just warm again. So I guess that's sort of like my story in a nutshell. Ooh, this thermal's stronger than the others. We're getting 8.5 average, 8.3 average. Take this one up as far as I can, either to cloud base or till it starts petering out. Makes no sense to try to go to another thermal now. This one's stronger than the others. Oh, almost a little spin there. I had Alt-Tab briefly. I once had a guy get in the glider with me. He's a skydive pilot, and he heard this beep beep noise, and he said, "God, that's annoying." I said, "Well, you can get out if you want." That beep beep is money. Money in the bank. We've already climbed like a mile in this thermal of altitude. I wonder if the one person that's watching it is me. It's okay. I'm gonna keep on doing this and the people will come. Besides my students and the people here at Williams, and maybe even posted to the Condor forum. And watch the video after the fact. Oh. It's time to leave. Think you got anything good? We actually have final glide. Not to the, I think we gotta get up higher for the Shasta waypoint, but we have glide all the way to Weed, California if we need. One more thermal should do. Oh, there's Shasta. A little late on saying it, but there it is. Anybody sees this video and likes my story, come on out and fly with me. We're going to need their climb here shortly. Decision. even though the wind is from the right, I'm going to circle left this time. The computer tells me I need, well, I'm above the height to get the waypoint on Shasta. I'm going to go a little bit higher. I don't know how far up it is on the mountain. It's not the top. One more circle. going to appear that I'll be very low to the ground, but the ground is just very high to me. Going up on a mountain, I'll be able to get my glide down to the airport on the 5 there, not a problem. Now, what I'm going to do after I turn the turn point is I'm going to re-look at my greedy value. I can basically go V and E to get to my destination after I pass this turn point. Slightly close. Get a little bit more speed in case there's some bad sync or something. There we go. Shasta turn point turned, and it is to home, not to home, to final destination. You gotta be careful not to rip the wings off here. Wings attached. did 136 nautical miles in 1 hour and 35 minutes. 85 knots. Well, if you guys like this little tour and video, give me kind of follow and subscribe, and I'll make some more. All right, enjoy. Have a good night.